Everyone to the Wednesday, November 19th, 2025 Planning Commission meeting. I am Tamara Blake Wallace, Deputy Director of Planning and Acting Planning Commission Administrator. This meeting will be conducted as a hybrid meeting, allowing for both virtual and in-person participation. This meeting is being recorded on both audio and video for record-keeping purposes. If you are attending virtually or by phone, please keep yourself muted to ensure no interruptions to this evening's meeting. At this time, I will turn the meeting over to the chairman to call the meeting to order.
Thank you so much. I'm John Tude, chairman, and I will begin the meeting by taking a quick attendance so we can establish a quorum. Commissioner Burry?
Here.
Commissioner Freeland?
Here.
Commissioner Gadway?
Present.
Commissioner Kernan?
Present.
Commissioner McQueen?
Here.
And Commissioner Weems?
Here.
We have full attendance. We therefore have a quorum, and we are called to order. If you'd all stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That brings us to action on the proposed agenda.
Gentlemen, any opinions on the proposed agenda?
I move that we approve and adopt the proposed agenda.
Second.
We have a movement and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Wonderful. And then an action on the proposed summary of actions for last month's meeting. Any motions?
I move that we approve and adopt a summary of actions for the October 15, 2025 regular meeting.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
And we have a second also. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That brings us to recognition of persons attending the meeting tonight. We have with us Jason Brinkley, Director of Planning and Zoning. Also from Planning and Zoning, we have Tay Harris, Long Range Planner. We'd like to introduce to the board our new Planner 1 for Development Review, for Long Range Planning, Katie Strauss. She's with us tonight. We also have Kat Lockwood, Planner 2. Charlene Johnson, Planner 2. Jay Cousineau, Planner 3. We have Becky Parkinson, which is our Planning Commission clerk, and John Mattingly is our legal counsel. That brings us to item 6, major subdivisions for final review and action. We do not have any on the agenda tonight. We have next applications for site plan review and action. We do not have any on the agenda again tonight. Item 8, major subdivision applications for preliminary review and action. We do not have any on the agenda tonight. That brings us to item 9, long-range planning. First, we will have public input meetings and guidance on next steps on Town Center Master Plan update.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Tay Harris. I'm the long-range planner for the Department of Planning and Zoning. It's good to see you all tonight.
It's our pleasure. Thank you for joining us.
Sure.
Do you want to bring the new girl up so we can ask her questions on the first day?
I'll bring her.
Kid, I'm kidding.
Stand up, Katie. I would like to.
We'll wait till next month and then we got questions for you.
Come on up. There's
That's just mean.
Okay, you can sit. So I'd like to officially introduce Katie Strauss as the Planner 1. She was just started on Monday for the long-range planning team. So we're excited to have her.
Monday.
Welcome.
No, with no questions.
Welcome.
No. I thought you started last week.
She's not new to planning. She comes from inspections and permits.
Oh.
So.
We will have questions for you. There you go.
But they must be permit related.
Yeah.
Okay, so tonight I'm going to discuss with you the public input meetings on survey results for the Huntingtown, Owings, and St. Leonard Town Center Master Plan updates. Between July 23rd and August 25th, the Department of Planning and Zoning conducted an online survey for the town centers of Huntingtown, Owings, and St. Leonard. The purpose of the survey was to gather feedback on the vision for each town center in preparation for their master plan updates. Department presented the survey results and sought feedback on the next steps from the Board of County Commissioners on September 9th and from the Planning Commission on September 17th of this year. The department was directed to hold public input meetings in October. The survey asked participants 10 questions. 3 of the questions were concerning demographics of the participants. The first 2 questions addressed if the participant lived inside the zip code or outside of the zip code, and the 3rd question asked their age. The next 6 questions asked the participant or respondent of the survey to identify certain characteristics of the town center. These characteristics include main draws, biggest challenge, biggest change, what was loved the most about the town center, the top 3 topics to be addressed in the master plan update, and 1 element to be retained or enhanced. The last question asked respondents to indicate if they would like the town center to remain a town center or be rezoned a rural commercial district. For the Huntingtown and Owings surveys, an estimated 60% of the respondents indicated that they would like to see the area rezoned rural commercial district, while an estimated 40% indicated that they would like it to remain a town center. For St. Leonard, the response was inversed. An estimated 40% of residents would like to see the area be rezoned as a rural commercial district, while 60% indicated they would like it to remain a town center.
Terry, if I could interrupt for just a brief second. When you did this, did you give the folks a definition of town center or rural commercial district? I mean, what are they working from here as far as?
Okay, so the survey included actually a map of the town center, so because it was, not everyone understood exactly where those boundaries lie. And then we gave a little synopsis of what has occurred in the town center since the last master plan update. And some of those town centers, it's been quite a while. Then when it got down to the last question, we gave an intent of what those zoning districts were. As I get into the results of the survey, it was clear that this information was confusing to some people. So moving forward, we will be addressing those issues and providing more clarity. So before we move forward, I would just like to say that the survey results for all of the town centers revealed a consistent message. Participants strongly valued the rural and small town character and its sense of place. They also enjoyed the convenient access to local shops, dining, and essential services. They also supported local businesses. Respondents desired enhanced walkability, small-scale amenities, and local shops and businesses without compromising the small-town scale and aesthetic they value. They also desire improvements in appearance, safety, and vibrancy of existing commercial areas, preferring revitalization rather than introducing new large businesses. They also would like to see carefully managed growth at current scales, protecting green space, natural resources, landscapes, and agricultural areas. In addition, they would like to see that the areas, the community identity for each area is maintained. While they express these desires and values, they also expressed concerns across the 3 town centers. And these concerns include intensity of traffic and congestion, especially in the recent years, limited pedestrian connectivity, vacant buildings in need of revitalization, and the potential for overdevelopment that would overtake the rural character of these existing areas. Oops. Let's try the other way. So the Huntingtown Public Input Meeting occurred on October 14th at the Huntingtown Fire Department located in the town center. There were an estimated 25 people at the meeting. It was streamed live, and it may be currently viewed on the county's YouTube site. The most recent data goes back about 4 weeks, but the video has been viewed 164 times. The graphic on this slide indicates comments per issue. The issues that received the most comments are listed first. The issues of the town center land use, commercialization, and rural commercial district had related comments. Overall, there were concerns that existing businesses could be eliminated or restricted under the rural commercial district, and that area residents would lose services and be unable to attract desired businesses like gas stations. There were also questions about grandfathering and which uses remain permitted, as well as uncertainty about whether designations such as major town center versus minor town center versus rural commercial district are strict or flexible. They indicated just confusion altogether. They also expressed growth concerns and the worry about impacts on open space and where development could physically occur. And they also expressed that it was unclear whether the area could support additional growth due to their perception of infrastructure, utility, and EMS and policing constraints. Regarding the town center district map issue, there was confusion about the town center boundary and where there are permitted residential areas as well as commercial areas. And then we have discussed this in a previous meeting, but there was comments about outreach. Some people had said they did not receive the postcards. So we explained that we had used the U.S. Post Office's service Every Door Direct Mail service, which includes mailing out or distributing the postcards on postal routes in the Huntingtown zip code. 57 postcards were mailed. Generally, property owners with primary addresses outside of the zip code or those using the P.O. boxes did not receive postcards. We did tell the people at the meeting that we would be looking into the mailing process for tax bills. And if we were to conduct another mailing, we would pursue using that process. We also encourage the people to sign up for notifications via the Town Center Master Plan Update webpage, download the Calvert County mobile app, and subscribe to the department's quarterly newsletter. And lastly, there were the issue of water and sewer. There were concerns that new development would require water and sewer infrastructure that would result in overdevelopment of the area.
Excuse me, Tay. In reference to the outreach, you said, how many postcards did you guys say you mailed out on the EDDM?
For Huntingtown, it was 5,700,
5,700. Okay.
which was the most, I think, of all the town centers.
Right. Okay.
Okay,
I'll ask the post office where mine ended up.
right. Well, and I did also hear about, as this was specific to Huntingtown, there were several people that did not receive mail, and they were not receiving mail in other instances in that
Right.
area. So I don't know if that was part of the problem.
It's been an ongoing issue in Huntingtown.
Okay.
Hey,
Thank
Kay, isn't the county's GIS system capable of identifying all the property owners within a polygon that you established? Couldn't you use GIS to get those addresses?
So we could do that, and moving forward, we could take the staffing resources to do that. But at the time that these postcards were mailed out for these surveys, we were given very limited time to meet deadlines. So we didn't have the staffing resources, because it is a heavy lift, but once you do it once, you have a good foundation and base, and then all you're doing is maintaining and updating moving forward.
As I understand it, the next public outreach for Huntingtown for the master plan process is a work session scheduled for sometime this winter. Is that right?
I believe it's December 2nd.
Oh, it's coming up December 2nd, that quickly.
With the board, it's not for Huntingtown, it's just to actually give them the same presentation that we're giving you tonight, so they're just
Oh, for
aware.
the county commissioners, correct?
Yes.
Okay. But as I understand it, there is to be another meeting with Huntingtown area residents in connection with the master plan for a work session later early next year. Is that right?
Oh, okay, so tentatively, that is our schedule, that once the new year hits and afterwards, we will have meetings with the public again.
So the question is, what's the strategy for notifying the public of that meeting?
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and email the participants that provided us emails at the public input meeting.
Okay.
Some people at the meeting indicated that they would help distribute and spread the word. We are distributing to a few civic association Facebook pages. We will put it on the Calvert County Facebook page, as well as the Huntingtown Master Plan Update webpage. We will issue a press release. There will be posts on, what is it? Nextdoor. I'm not a social media person, but yeah. So we're spreading it far and wide, and we will utilize the citizens this time because we did get a lot of good feedback on suggestions that they had, but we did promise them that we would send them an email. So we have collected the emails at the meeting, and we've created a group already just to give them updates.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. How many people did you say attended the meeting in Huntingtown?
25.
25 people out of 5,700 mailings.
Mm-hmm. Now, you have to remember that was the whole zip code for Huntingtown. And not everyone got the postcards.
Okay.
Okay.
Would you say if it's safe to say that half the people, roughly half the people that were at that Huntingtown meeting were Huntingtown business owners?
I couldn't tell you that.
Okay.
I mean, there were plenty of questions about permitted uses in the rural commercial district and concerns about what would happen if there was a rezoning. But that happened in all 3 of the meetings.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, the Owings Public Input Meeting occurred on October 20th, and it occurred at Grace Brethren Church, located outside of but adjacent to the Owings Town Center. An estimated 41 people attended the meeting. It too was streamed live and may be currently viewed on the county's YouTube site. As of 4 weeks ago, the video had been viewed 115 times. The graphic on this slide shows comments per issue, and the issues that received the most comments are listed first. The issues of existing infrastructure and road safety had related comments, and they were generally about high speeds on MD 260, unsafe left turns on MD 260 from Old Solomon's Road, shoulder driving on MD 260, and frequent accidents, as well as backups along Thomas Road, dangerous conditions at the bus stop, inadequate traffic control devices, worries about the proposed roundabout impacts, and concern that current problems on the roadways must be resolved before growth occurs. In relation to the growth and expansion issue, comments expressed uncertainty about where growth would occur, a desire to utilize existing buildings before expanding the town center boundary, questions about the feasibility of creating a town along a high-speed highway, and reluctance towards high-density housing. In regards to communication and public outreach, there was confusion about communication among departments. Specific issues brought up were the roles of the Department of Public Works, Environmental Health, Economic Development, and Planning and Zoning. Some people expressed that there were long permitting timelines, and it was unclear about the oversight of industrial noise coming from Thomas Avenue. Questions were also asked about how agencies coordinate on issues such as land use, enforcement, and environment. Concerning public outreach, it's the same comments that were given to us at the Huntingtown meeting. So we gave them the same responses, and I'll just let you know that there were 3,500 postcards mailed to Owings. Concerning the environmental and water issues, comments centered on Hall Creek pollution, such as oil in the water and sedimentation, wetlands that dominated the area, reoccurring flooding on key roads and at the bus stop, and stormwater runoff causing deep roadside ditches. Regarding well and septic, comments centered on the recognition that the area may not be well suited for well and septic due to environmental constraints, and comments generally questioned if the area is suited for growth and if it's a realistic expectation. Concerning the town center boundaries, land use, and businesses, questions centered around which businesses would become non-conforming if the town center was rezoned to rural commercial district, and there was a request for an inventory of existing businesses. There was also confusion about existing and proposed boundaries of the town center and concerns about overdevelopment of the proposed expansion area and that area changing the character of the existing town center. There were comments about school capacity and if homes were built. People were concerned about the impacts from residential growth as well, from the beaches, Prince Frederick, and the broader growths in the county. Many people expressed that MD 260 is a throughway to the beaches, and it's just very busy, and it presents unsafe traffic conditions for their local area. And then there were quite a few people who really wanted no change, asked if this was an option, and whether the vision for the area could be revised to smaller scale fixes, including aesthetic and landscaping improvements. The St. Leonard Public Input Meeting occurred on October 6th, and it was held at the Christians Crossroads Church, which is located outside of the town center across Route 2 from the town center. An estimated 40 people attended the meeting. It was also streamed live and may be viewed on the county's YouTube site. As of 4 weeks ago, the video had been viewed 114 times. The graphic on this slide shows comments per issue. The issues that receive the most comments are listed first. I've also grouped a lot of these issues together to discuss related comments. So the issues of rural commercial district versus town center districts, businesses, and financial aid. The comments regarding these issues centered on concerns about the differences between the rural commercial district and the town center in the permitted uses, density, and grandfathering provisions, as well as the ability to subdivide family land. There were also questions about the impact on state funding if the area were no longer designated a town center. Regarding the issues for vision for town center districts, and timeline for the plan update, comments centered around a lack of understanding about the vision and questioning whose vision is this in the town center. There were also questions about major and minor town center categories and the desire to know who makes the final decision about the town center visions. It was very clear that people were just very, very confused about the town center master plan update process, and they also thought that these decisions were already made and we were going to come out and tell them that it had been redesignated or rezoned to rural commercial district. So we did spend a lot of time trying to talk them through those misconceptions. There was also frustration expressed about what residents say is unexplained infrastructure, and that they cited a sidewalk in front of the Spot thrift store in the Dowell House parking lot. They just were unaware of the parking lot being installed, and I was surprised, but a lot of people didn't even realize that the Dowell House was in the town center and was part of Parks and Rec's inventory and open for community use. In addition, they just had, as I stated, questions about the town center master plan update process and timeline. Regarding the issues for water and sewer, there's uncertainty on whether businesses and revitalization of vacant buildings are able to succeed without the provisions of sewer. There were also questions about what that process looked like to get public sewer. They wanted to know about timelines, if it was planned, and questions about capacity so as not to encourage high-density residential development in other parts of the town center. There were also questions about point of the survey, and it really regarded the town center population. A few people questioned whether the survey actually reflects the true views of the St. Leonard residents. While the survey results indicated that the majority of people wanted the town center to remain a town center, there still seemed to be plenty of people at the meeting that were in opposition to that. Respondents, they also wanted to know how many respondents were outside of the town center. And really this survey, I have to remind everyone, this is what the comments were, but the survey was inside or outside of the zip code. And then residents from Long Beach and Calvert Beach wanted to know if they were counted in the survey. So we told them if they took it, they were counted in the survey. The issues regarding major versus minor town center and residential expansion, the comments centered around concerns of becoming like Prince Frederick and a desire for guarantees against high-density housing. The issues for impervious surface and environmental and health constraints. People made comments about the water table, septic limitations, high private sewer costs, and health department restrictions, and concerns that environmental constraints may make redevelopment difficult regardless of zoning. They also had the same questions about outreach. So we gave them the same answers, and just to let you know, there were 2,800 postcards mailed in the St. Leonard town, the St. Leonard zip code. So the next 4 slides, we're gonna discuss recommended options for zoning. The areas could remain a town center, or we could reestablish a minor town center and rezone the area's minor town center. Or we could create a new zoning district. I'd like to point out in this bullet that it should say residential zoning district, not residential development zoning district. But if we were to create a new zoning district, we would take the non-residential and mixed-use properties and apply that new zoning district to those properties. And then we would rezone the residential properties to residential district. And then we recommend, moving forward, we would eliminate the rural commercial district option. It's gonna create a lot of non-conforming uses.
And
So when
there's no possibility that the existing businesses that would be non-conforming would be grandfathered? Is that true?
It's either yes or no.
I mean, I think we could make that provision, but,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
so.
then the
but
question
it
is,
would-
if there's a change in ownership,
Yeah.
does that transfer?
Right, well, and then I provided you all with attachments and for each of the town centers, and
Right.
they include permitted uses in the town center and the
Yeah.
rural. And if you look, there are just several, there are
Yeah,
several
yeah, yeah.
uses, and the residential uses too. The rural commercial district only allows, attached to non-residential
Yeah.
units, right? And then one other, I can't remember what the other one is, but only 2.
Yeah, I was
Residential
at
uses.
the Owings and the Huntingtown sessions, and especially the local business owners were very concerned and raised what I thought were very legitimate points.
Yes. Okay, so we're just to explore just a little bit, distinguishing between major and minor town centers. This slide is intended to provide the differences between the major and minor town centers in red font. And then the black font shows the commonalities between the 2 types. So
I'm sorry. So a question, the county now has a chance to redefine the definition of minor town center, since we're kind of recreating it. And what we're seeing here, I think, is the prior, older definition.
we're actually trying to capture what's on the ground now.
Okay.
Okay, so, and I believe it is close to, or if not, the same as the older
Okay.
definition, but I wasn't around when that was created, so, but that could be the case.
The reason I'm asking is that a lot of the concerns that I heard at the 2 meetings that I attended were about if they were redesignated even as a minor town center, that if water and sewer were permitted, that would lead to growth that a lot of the attendees did not want. So the question is, going forward, if there is a realistic option to redefine a minor town center as a place that does not necessarily have to have, or even should not have, water and sewer, but all the other advantages that town center status would incur.
That would seem to be a good distinction. However, when you look at St. Leonard, it currently has public water.
Yeah,
And there was discussion at the St. Leonard meeting, there were comments that people acknowledged that if they want to have a sustainable town center, and they want to be able to revitalize their vacant buildings, they would need wastewater system. And so, moving forward, we are gonna discuss public
sure.
sewer with them. However, they did indicate they did not want high-density residential development, and so we would be looking at exploring a smaller package
Different
plant
options,
that
yeah.
would just serve the
Sure.
commercial area.
And the uses can be controlled by the zoning.
Okay, yeah, because the impression I got from the participants at Owings and Huntingtown was very much against water and sewer. So this may not be a one-size-fits-all for minor town centers, is my thought. And anyway, I think that's an important discussion to be having in the future.
We definitely will be having that discussion with everyone, just so we can gauge what their expectations are, because there are constraints, environmental. Okay, so going back to this slide, the major town center is intended to have single and multi-level commercial or non-residential uses, and a variety of housing types, including single-family, townhomes, and multifamily units, as well as to be served by water systems, either private or public, and wastewater systems, as well as recreational facilities and cultural and community facilities, but their intended audience and scale is supposed to be countywide, versus the minor town center, which is intended to have single-story non-residential uses, and the housing types would be single-family or townhomes. These areas could be served by water systems or well, wastewater systems or septic, and community centers and cultural and community facilities would be at this scale to serve the locality or the neighborhood. All other aspects would be the same. I keep doing that, I apologize. That's right. The new zoning district, the intent is it would apply to areas with, when I say mixed uses, really commercial uses or areas zoned that would allow mixed uses. It would be similar to town center uses, but with a neighborhood focus, and this is all to avoid non-conforming uses. The town center architectural and streetscape requirements, as well as parking requirements, would not apply. Proposed expansion areas would be rezoned based on public department agency comment and recommendation by the Planning Commission and adoption by the Board of County Commissioners. And residential areas would be rezoned residential district, allowing 1 unit per acre up to 4 units per acre through TDRs. And here, I'm just gonna briefly go through the intent of the town center and the rural commercial district. And then again, the planning department recommends eliminating this option. But the intent of the town center is to have a variety of uses, as you can see, commercial, office, residential, public, and quasi-public development that promotes economic development and reduces traffic congestion. Also, it prevents strip commercial development and provides a diverse housing options with convenient access to goods and services. The rural commercial district was created at the time the town centers were established, but they were created to recognize those commercial areas that are located outside of the town centers and located along the country roads. These areas usually comprise of small stores, local shops, and services that are long-standing, such as roadside markets, repair shops, or diners. They provide goods and services to rural residents without requiring long trips, and the intent is for these areas to remain small scale, low key, in sync with the surrounding rural character, and not to develop so that it's large shopping centers that could compete with the town centers. Okay, so the next series of slides are very repetitive. I'm gonna go over the next two slides in detail, but these slides are in response to the Planning Commission's request to outline the process of what would happen if the town center were rezoned. So the Department of Planning and Zoning would initiate the plan when directed by the Planning Commission. The department would also brief the board on the public input meetings and seek guidance on next step for zoning options. The department would hold public meetings to discuss the town center's vision, the zoning options, and the public identified priorities. These priorities were identified during the survey. So the top 3 issues that that respondents feel should be addressed during the master plan update, we would take those back to the public and ask them if they still agree that those are the top 3 issues. Then the department would begin the plan preparation as directed by the Planning Commission. And the department would brief the Planning Commission on significant issues during plan preparation as needed. Once the draft plan is done, the department will present the draft plan to the Planning Commission and seek guidance on presenting it to the public. Then the department would present the draft plan at a public meeting to the public. The department would come back to the Planning Commission and brief the Planning Commission on public comments and revise the draft plan as directed. The department would then seek guidance from the Planning Commission to conduct a 60-day comment period. That 60-day comment period would be conducted, and then the department would come back to the Planning Commission and preview the draft plan, including comments and recommended revisions based on the comments obtained during the 60-day comment period to the Planning Commission. Then the department would present the draft plan, including the comments and the recommended revisions. The department would then seek guidance to hold a public hearing from the Planning Commission, and then a public hearing would be held. Once the Planning Commission determines that the Town Center Master Plan update is consistent with the Calvert County Comprehensive Plan, the department will hold a work session with the Board of County Commissioners, present the draft plan to the board, and then seek guidance to hold a public hearing. Then a public hearing with the board would be held. Now, this is a high-level process that I just outlined. Of course, in any time in the process, if the Planning Commission requests additional information, then you will add that a step that we would come back to you and present the information you requested, or if you wanted us to go back out to the public and present anything. So this is not set in stone, but it's a high-level process for you to consider. Does anyone have any questions about this process that I just outlined?
Yeah, one question. So one of the early decision points is whether to redefine the minor town center and what that means. But also, and I think this is especially a possibility in Owings, public interest in getting rid of the town center designation altogether, in which case a master plan is no longer required. So at what point is the decision about removing the town center status made? It's you're not going to propose a draft plan for Owings if the decision ultimately is not to have a town center, right?
Right. So if that's the case, then I'm not exactly I'm not exactly sure of the process for getting rid of the town center, but I believe that would involve this next step. And this would be an amendment to the comprehensive plan. And if council would like to interject, any thoughts on that?
I think this board is very familiar with amending the comprehensive plan. We've been through it a
We've
couple of
done it,
times.
yes.
Okay,
Everything
so
that
if-
involves, but that is actually the first step.
Just,
Okay, so if the town center were to go away, or if the towns, well, that's it, if the town center would be rezoned, the top of this slide says concurrent with the 60-day comment period for the town center master plan. We have to be careful with that. We can do, I believe we can do this concurrently, but the master plan must be consistent with the comprehensive plan. So technically, the comprehensive plan must be updated prior to the master plan update,
Right.
or simultaneously, I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, ultimately, you're gonna have to make a consistency finding, so it simultaneous would present a couple problems.
Because the board would have to
Unless the
adopt it.
changes are consistent with the comprehensive
Yeah.
plan, which, obviously what you're proposing wouldn't be.
yeah, you'd have to do the
Okay.
comprehensive plan first.
All right, so strike out that top,
Mhm.
and we will revise that for reposting, just because we'd like to have the correct information online to the public, available to the public. So we would revise or amend the comprehensive plan, and this is similar to the process I just talked about, except we come in at, right before the 60-day comment period. So we present to the planning commission the proposed amendments to the comprehensive plan. Then we seek guidance to conduct a 60-day comment period. Upon your direction, we conduct a 60-day comment period. Then the department comes back to the planning commission and presents the comments and makes revisions as directed by the planning commission. Then the department would seek guidance from the planning commission to hold a public hearing, and upon direction, a public hearing would be held. Then, following that, once the planning commission makes a recommendation to the board to approve the amendment, but it would be consistent with the comprehensive plan?
Yeah, this,
Okay.
the planning commission has sole authority to make consistency findings.
Okay, so it would too be a consistency determination to the Board of County Commissioners. Then the department would hold a work session with the board and seek guidance to hold a public hearing, and then the BOCC would hold a public hearing.
Yeah. What I'm trying to figure out is how to fold into the process that you just described, the decision points for number one, redefining what a minor town center is. And then, presenting that to the public and getting their input. And also how to handle the question about removing town center, going to minor town center, or keeping it in major town center, which I think that decision point needs to precede the formal start of drafting town center master plans, right?
So I think what would happen is we would go out to the public, we're presenting the survey results tonight to the
Right.
planning commission, then we're gonna present it to the board on the 2nd. And then
Right.
after the new year, we're gonna go out and do public information meetings. And we're gonna seek guidance or public input from the communities again on what zoning option they prefer.
Yeah.
So then we would come back and present those findings to you and make recommendations on how we would define the town center, minor town center,
Okay.
or the new zoning district based on input from the public.
So at these town center work sessions, there will be formal questions and discussion involving the public on these issues about major versus minor, redefining minor, getting rid of town center altogether.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And in the meantime, we're creating frequently asked questions, because there seems so many questions about rural commercial district versus town
Yeah.
center. And even though we're recommending to eliminate it, it hasn't been thrown off the table yet. But we want to get the information out there to demonstrate just to what extent the nonconforming uses would be to the public. So we're in the process of doing the FAQs for each Town Center webpage. And that's gonna address we're gonna try to address all the questions to the best we can, that were asked at these town meetings, these input meetings, and there were a lot of questions and a lot of confusion.
Yeah, one of the big points of confusion I saw was that there's not a lot of public understanding of the the downzoning changes that have already been made, and people still have in their minds the zoning from 5 or 10 years ago.
Right, they don't understand that the zoning
Right.
inside the town center is the same as what's immediately outside through the residential district.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so if the town centers were revised or rezoned to minor town centers or to a new district, you would have to amend the comprehensive plan. Then you would, following the amendment to the comprehensive plan, you would have to amend the zoning map. It's the same process. We present to the planning commission, then you have the 60-day comment period, right? Then we bring the comments back to the planning commission. There's a public hearing held by the planning commission. And then we present to the Board of County Commissioners, and there's a public hearing conducted by the Board of County Commissioners. In addition to the zoning map amendment, we would have to amend the Calvert County and the Town Center zoning ordinances. Same process. So the conclusions for this presentation are that this is an update being presented for informational purposes. No action is needed at this time, but we are moving forward with holding public meetings next year in early winter.
Thank you so much, Tay.
Mhm.
Gentlemen, any questions or comments?
I do have a comment.
Please, sir.
Reference to Owings Town Center. It seems to me very interesting that the county is putting on the table or proposing the possibility of an expansion of Town Center, but yet the citizens of the area want to get rid of the Town Center. Or there's discussion from the citizens that they want to eliminate the Town Center and make it something different. And so I hope that the county hears that and doesn't end up coming down and more than doubling the size of the town center of Owings and expanding it on the north side.
Right, we would rezone it to something, and I'm just throwing this out
Right.
as an example, Farm and Forest District,
Right.
right? So we hear that, and then the reason why that, just to refresh everyone's memory, that area that's proposed expansion is an employment center. All employment centers that are adjacent to town centers in the most recent comprehensive plan update, this plan calls for them to be included in town centers because the employment center district never worked as intended. It was supposed to be a transition district from town centers into the the less dense areas, surrounding areas. So that is why this is designated as such.
Got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Tay, good presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm concerned about the word that came up in all of these meetings, confusion, that as well as the fact that there were so many cards sent out and so few people showed up. That's a big concern. So I'm not sure we're getting an accurate representation of what some of these issues might be. So if there's any way or something that we can do to get the information out, get it consistent, follow up, that would be appreciated.
Okay, noted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, is that it, question-wise? Thank you so much. Thank you, Tay.
Welcome.
All right, that brings us to item 9B, Chapter 1, Town Centers, and Chapter 3, Dunkirk Town Center Master Plan, the Master Plan of Town Centers, and it's the November 2025 draft.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Kat Lockwood, Planner 2, Long Range. I'm here this evening to talk about the Dunkirk Town Center Master Plan, which is Chapter 3. August 2025 draft. First, I'm gonna talk about chapter 1, which is the town centers of the master plan of town centers. This includes a relationship to the comprehensive plan, which has the visions, goals, and objectives in it. Implementation of the local, state, and federal regulations, policies, and government programs and services, and partnerships with local agencies, nonprofits, and regional planning organizations. Functional plans and studies, which include transportation, water and sewer, parks and recreation, public transit, pedestrian and bicycle studies, housing for all task force, all hazards plan, etc. On this slide, we're going to talk about chapter 3, which is the Dunkirk Town Center Master Plan, land use. On the left-hand side of the screen, we have the aerial map of the Dunkirk Town Center with the proposed expansion areas. To the west side, we have the Dunkirk District Park, and the northeast side, we have the Maryland Transit Administration's MTA Dunkirk Park and Ride. On this slide, we have brought up the highlights for the environment and natural resources. On the left side, the map is the subwatershed map, which includes the Hall Creek and Kings Branch watersheds. The middle map is the impervious surface map, and on the right side, we have the tree canopy map. This is a continuation of the environment and natural resources. We have on the left-hand side the sensitive areas map. In the middle, we have the targeted ecological areas map. And on the right side, we have the steep slopes map.
Kat, can you please explain what the TEA is, the Targeted Ecological Area?
Targeted ecological areas are designated by the state, and they are recognized for their significant value as an ecosystem for species and plant species. And this area is reviewed by the state for development proposals.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But there aren't any mandatory land use restrictions?
Yes, there are. I don't know them off the top of my head, but they are imposed. They are handed down by the Department of Natural Resources, but the county enforces them through their development review process.
On this slide, we talk about the heritage highlights, which includes 10 historical sites in Dunkirk. And we focus on retaining the Smithville Methodist Church as a historic district and encourage owners of historic properties to place them in preservation. In this slide, we talk about the housing highlights, which talks about the census designated place, also known as CDP. Majority of the houses in Dunkirk are in the CDP are single-family homes with a 99% homeownership rate. Median home value is $557,700. Median monthly mortgage is $2,760. Rental rates is $1,700 to $3,200. And affordable housing, generally affordable, is for median income households, but increasingly unaffordable for households at 30%, 50%, and 80% of area median income. this slide, we talk about economic vitality. Major employers are the prominent grocery chains, medical facilities, retail stores, restaurants. The targeted industries are healthcare, commercial, retail, high-tech jobs, specialty shops, with a focus on small business attraction and retention. On this slide, we have the transportation highlights. The left side of the screen has the road classification map, which includes state roads and county roads on it. And with this, we would like to restrict Apple Way access to Maryland 4 to right turns only. We would like to complete Penwick Lane for direct access from Maryland 4 to Town Center Boulevard. We would like to install a crosswalk at Maryland 4 and Town Center Boulevard. The county currently owns 2 undeveloped rights-of-way at the north and south ends of the Loop Road. For the southern end, Shops Way would connect Dunkirk Way and Apple Way, limited to local traffic. For the northern end, extend Gateway Drive to Brickhouse Road to complete the local road network for the Dunkirk Town Center.
Looking at county funding going forward, none of those road expansions are currently funded in the capital development plan going forward, correct?
Correct. That's correct.
Yeah.
They're recommendations.
Okay. Yeah, so these are future visions that are probably well in the future.
Correct.
Okay.
On this slide, we have the community and government facilities, which include the Dunkirk Firehouse, the Sheriff's Office Dunkirk District Station, MTA's Park and Ride, and Dunkirk District Park. This is talking about Chapter 1, and this is the revisions due to public comments and agency comments. Address the Planning Principles Act, House Bill 286. In April of 2025, Governor Moore signed new legislation into law creating the Sustainable Growth Planning Principles. These 8 principles are now modernized and will replace our 10 planning visions. We now have added the census designated places and town center maps for every town center with descriptions. We've revised the housing affordability assessment, which is House Bill 1045. We've addressed affirmatively further fair housing, House Bill 90 requirements. The county is developing a fair housing strategy in preparation for the next comprehensive plan update. We've updated the homeless counts. We're addressing the EV charger requirements for new single-family houses, House Bill 830, and discussed broadband infrastructure. The revisions did not change the vision.
What was the discussion in reference to the broadband infrastructure?
It's the same discussion that's in the comprehensive plan. It just talks about where it's existing and the goals to expand it in the county. It's a high-level discussion.
Right. I was under the impression that the county spent a fair amount ensuring that every household was connected to broadband via Comcast.
I have to remind myself what that language is.
All right. Yeah, because I was under the impression that every house that wanted broadband currently had it, or it would be there very, very shortly, like within the end of this year.
At the same time, we have a new entry.
Right.
Down in Lusby, you got Think Big Networks, which has already been bought. and they're also going into Chesapeake Beach,
North Beach as well, yeah.
North Beach.
Yeah.
So that actually takes Comcast pretty much out of the picture with that going in, and that's all fiber.
Exactly.
So that's a big
Yeah,
change.
Thank you.
One other question, what are the EV charger requirements under the new bill?
So every house that is built now, I believe, must have an EV charger in it.
Is it just a hookup for an EV charger, or is it the charger itself? Just curious, I remember that was a debate.
Look who's ready to answer the question, right now. I told you so. I told you so.
She's got the answer.
Jason Berkeley, Director of Planning and Zoning. For all the questions I thought I might stand up here for, this is one of the more interesting ones. I may not know near as good an answer as our new Planner One, but my understanding it's the connection and not
Okay.
actually, it's gotta be wired for it, but
Yeah.
not the actual charger in it.
Okay, thanks.
Sooner or later, she's gonna have to answer
Anyway.
her first question.
Yeah, right.
There it was.
Let me ask a question on that. Is that with the current code or the proposed new code?
That's current.
It's current,
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
per Katie, or Planner One. It is the current.
Any more questions? before I
Continue.
Go. So this pertains to Chapter 3, the Dunkirk Town Center Master Plan, and this is the revisions that we have done due to public comment. We have updated the impervious surface and riparian buffer percentages in subwatersheds. Recommend assessing impervious surface and establishing a threshold. Revise the housing affordability assessment to be consistent with Chapter 1, which is the town centers. Recommend working with the MTA for commuter bus services to Annapolis, New Carrollton, and College Park. Discuss benefits of treating stormwater due to increased intensity and frequency of rain events.
Got a question. So, recommended working with Maryland Transit Administration. I presume there's no tax money to provide any of this currently today? And it,
I don't know the specifics, but that's the general premise of the economic conditions, so yes.
Right.
This particular recommendation was responding to a public comment that wanted to know if there were plans to increase commuter service, bus services, in addition to what's already occurring. So, consistent with the Calvert County Public Transit Development Plan, this recommendation is in that plan.
Yeah. I know.
that'd be the end of the county.
Next steps. On December 17th, 2025, Planning and Zoning will discuss the revised draft chapters with the Planning Commission and seek to advertise a public hearing on January 21st, 2026. Do y'all have any further questions?
That's assuming that we vote to proceed to a public hearing, correct, at the 17th December meeting?
Correct.
Okay.
So I'd like to add that we added the preview for the plan a month, to give you a month to be able to absorb the plan, so that we could address any of your comments.
I'm
Other
going to-
comments? Sir?
I'm gonna comment or read a portion of a agency comment, but I'm gonna preface it with, in '96, when I moved to Maryland, I chose Calvert County for a reason. I was working in Prince George's County at the time and moved down here for the rural nature that we have. And to have Prince George's County Planning Development send a letter to us stating Calvert County's Dunkirk Town Center Master Plan update and Calvert County's Town Center chapters are compatible with the recommendations for the Subregion 6 Master Plan. Prince George's County Planning Department supports the efforts for interjurisdictional coordination and appreciates the opportunity to review draft chapters for the Calvert County Master Plan of Town Centers. The department is prepared to support the implementation of these amendments and engage in future discussion as necessary. Me personally, I don't want Calvert to be Prince George's County. And I don't know if we want to have a huge amount of input from Prince George's Planning Development into the future growth of Calvert. Not a question, just thought.
Can I respond, give you some input?
Absolutely.
Please do.
Okay. So I believe that is a standard response
It is.
from the county, because by the law, the land use article requires that we distribute the draft plan to all adjoining jurisdictions. Prince George's County is one of those jurisdictions. And so I believe that is a standard response. If they had specific comments regarding what is in this plan, that's when they're supposed to disclose those comments. And that seemed to me a very general response indicating
It's
partnership.
boilerplate, that's what it is. It's boilerplate.
Thank you.
Where
In
is
a
Prince
nutshell.
George's County adjoining Calvert County?
We had this discussion the other day. Jason, do you remember specifically?
I mean, it's either across the water or
It's-
across
It is
another
across
county.
the water.
We
yeah.
share part of the Patuxent.
Patuxent,
We
yeah.
share part of the Patuxent with them, which is
And you
considered
don't know
adjoining.
that.
Okay,
It doesn't have, the land itself
Yeah,
does
get
not
back
have
and
to
forth
die.
and work.
It's
Okay.
adjoining if it's on the other side of the river.
Don't we own the waters?
fair
The
enough.
land under the waters.
Thank you.
You're not looking for any action from us this evening, right?
We need a motion on the
Yeah,
schedule.
we are looking for action.
All you,
Well, we have
do
the
it by
17th.
consensus, or you can do a motion to approve the schedule that planning and zoning is proposing, or you can just do it by consensus and accept.
Would anybody be willing to make a motion allowing the planning commission to advertise a public hearing?
Oh,
on
and I'm
January 24th?
sorry,
No, we're not there
Mr.
yet.
Chair. Also, if anyone wants to modify the proposed, then you would need a.
So someone could make a motion to put that in
Modify.
February or
Yes, sir.
July.
Yes,
if
sir,
they
I'm
wanted
sorry,
to.
I should have put the other option out there, I
Okay,
apologize.
no, that's a no, thank you so much.
I'm happy with the December 17th for our formal review.
I am too.
Pending the results of that review, I think only at that point should we decide when to schedule the hearing.
Excellent point.
Thank you, David.
The issue with that is, or let me check with the issue, does that still allow us time to legally advertise everything and do
Yes, sir,
we could do that?
yes, sir. The
without-
biggest
Without
deadline
putting a
was to
strain
get,
on staff?
yeah, the biggest deadline was to get the HC comments in time, and we've already gotten those.
Okay.
And there doesn't appear to be any substantive changes that have been presented by this board as of yet, so.
Yeah.
So the deferral to the 17th, would that be within the rest of the board's interests? Do we have a consensus on that?
I think so.
Commissioner Queen? Is that all right with you guys?
Yes.
Get busy.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it Commissioner Burr's way. It sounds like a good plan. We will see you next month.
Thank you.
Thank you,
so
ladies.
much,
Happy
ladies.
Thanksgiving.
Appreciate all your efforts.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Okay, that brings us to item 10, items for discussion and/or action. We do not have any tonight. And then that brings us to item 11, items of interest. Item A is the adequate public facilities for schools, November 1st, 2025 fall report.
Hi, my name is Tay Harris. I'm the long-range planner for the Department of Planning and Zoning. And tonight, I'm going to briefly go over the adequate public facilities for schools report for November 1st, 2025. First, I'd like to first point out that in the memo, we have to make a correction. The current county administrator is Linda Turner. That will be corrected and posted to the website after this meeting. The adequate public facilities regulations are a growth management tool that restricts development in areas where facilities are inadequate. Calvert County adopted APF regulations for schools and roads in 1988. In December 2023, the Board of County Commissioners incorporated APF regulations for schools into the Calvert County Code. The code states in Chapter 3, Article 5, Section 3-8B, that schools shall be considered adequate if the enrollment for each public school serving development is less than 100% of the local rated capacity. Per the Planning Commission's policies for administering subdivisions under the APF ordinance for school capacity, school adequacy reports are issued from Planning and Zoning April 1st and November 1st of every year. The code limits the delay of final approval of residential subdivision or residential development due to solely the lack of adequate school capacity to up to 6 years from the date of preliminary approval. The calculations for determining the elementary, middle, and high school APF rated capacities are specific to the code. Determination of school adequacy is not required for non-residential subdivisions. Age-restricted housing communities meeting the requirements of the Calvert County zoning ordinance are also exempt from the school adequacy requirements. Subdivisions or parcels that meet certain criteria listed in the code are exempt from APF requirements for schools. In addition, the municipalities of Chesapeake Beach and North Beach have their own planning and zoning authority. The county's APF regulations do not apply within these municipalities, and neither municipality has adopted APF regulations for schools or roads. There were no changes in the open closed status of the Calvert County schools since November 2024 report. The two county public schools that are deemed inadequate for capacity, which means they're exceeding 100% of the APF rated capacities for those schools, include Mount Harmony Elementary School and Northern Middle School. These figures are down slightly from the April 1 report. And I think that's it. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, so Northern Middle, do they take, is North Beach and Chesapeake Beach within the Northern Middle School District?
I believe so.
they're Windy Hill.
Windy Hill is, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the question was, would North Beach and Chesapeake Beach be subject to residential growth restrictions under APFO if they were part of Northern Middle? But since it's windy, it's not an issue. Theoretically, though, those two incorporated towns would have residential growth restrictions under the APFO?
The towns do not have APF for school regulations.
Are they subject to the county APFO, is really the question.
I do not think they are, but I
No,
would
they're
have
not.
to come back to you.
Would-
They're not?
Jason Brinkley, Director of Planning and Zoning, since they have their own zoning authority, they
Yeah,
are not
they're
subject
not.
to the county regulations.
Okay. So for instance, if they have a dramatic increase in residential growth that impacts county facilities, we're kind of at their mercy.
That's correct.
Okay, wanted to know.
Kay, do you know the capacity of the new Northern Middle School? I assume once that's constructed and put into service, that number will fall.
Yes, I assume so too, but I will confirm and report back to you. I would also just like to take a moment to thank Jesse Clark. He prepares these reports every twice a year, and it's a lot of data crunching and coordinating with the Calvert County Public Schools, so he does deserve recognition for the work he does.
Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you, Tay.
And there are no proposed residential developments within the areas of those two schools that are over capacity, correct? So there's no residential, proposed residential developments that are affected right now, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
All right, do we have any more questions of Tay?
Tay, thank you so
Thank you,
much. I
Tay.
appreciate all your help.
All right, that moves us on to item B, site plan and subdivision list. You have the site plan and the subdivision list before you. It's for informational purposes only. Do you have any questions or concerns?
Yeah, I noticed that there's a development west side on Main, townhouse for Prince Frederick. Is the developer aware of the traffic issues in Prince Frederick that have led to the kick-in of the APFO potentially for future developments?
They are aware, and it will be also reviewed by DPW while this is under review.
Will they be doing a traffic impact study?
Yes, they are.
Okay. Do you have a schedule for when that traffic impact study will be available?
It may be, I think it may be available now. I'll have to double check.
Okay. My concern is potentially depending on that, how that traffic impact study was done, the assumptions that went into it, including the geographic borders, and whether that will take into account the intersections in Prince Frederick that, according to the most recent assessments, were failing. So I want to understand what the status of this development is going forward in relation to that.
Okay.
Thanks.
Any more questions?
We all set, gentlemen?
Think so?
We brings us to public comment, doesn't it?
Well, just one more thing, just a reminder that our December 17th regular meeting is going to be held in the Chesapeake Room at the new County Administration Building, and that's at 150 Main Street in Prince Frederick. So you will have a new
Wonderful, thank
spot next month. And then now that brings us to public comment. At this time, I do not have anyone online, and I do not have anyone in the audience. So with that being said, we can skip to item 13, which is adjournment.
Would anybody care to make a motion?
Move to adjourn.
And the second?
Second.
And we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
We stand adjourned. Have a lovely Thanksgiving, and I will see you on the 17th.
Thanks, gentlemen.